Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9. I'm Paul Kretschmer. On today's broadcast, we'll be talking about Red Cross blood donations. The donation level is lower than the Red Cross would like it to be, and so they're looking for volunteers to donate blood. Here is the spokesman, John Godin, who will first talk to me about how long he's been volunteering or working with Red Cross.
I'm a regional spokesperson for the Red Cross.
Okay, and how long have you been in that position then, sir?
I have been a volunteer for the Red Cross for about 3.5 years.
Okay. I think most of us are familiar with the concept of blood being so vital that we hear quite often that the supply is not where it ought to be. Can you briefly share with listeners where the blood supply situation is at the present time?
Yeah, right now, unfortunately, hospital demand is continuing to outpace donations. So we need an additional 10,000 blood or platelet donations each week over the next month to kind of meet patient needs.
Okay.
What I tell people, Paul, is that every 2 seconds, someone in this country needs blood. That never changes. So we have to make sure that we always have a steady supply of donors to meet that need.
Okay. Does that mean, for instance, that you have to deal with a certain amount of turnover in your donor base then all the time?
No. What we encourage people to do is we have a regular donor base, and what we encourage them to do is to donate as regularly as they can. What happens during the summer is you have a lot of travel and vacation time that people take, and you can't deny them that. But what you also have is you have storms like Idalia that hit the southeast and parts of the mid-Atlantic, and other storms that also impact the supply of blood while the demand stays constant. It never changes. So the other thing is we have back to school. A lot of people get sidetracked by getting kids back into school. That puts the priority of blood donations somewhat on a back burner. So what we try to do is encourage those that always give to give on a regular basis, and we always try to encourage those who have never given to donate blood for the first time. Okay. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach.
Okay. When you talk about your regular donor base, does that mean people, for instance, who donate as often as the rules allow them to then?
Yeah, so if you give whole blood, a donor can actually give whole blood every 8 weeks, up to 6 times a year. People oftentimes don't realize it. If you're a platelet donor, you can actually give platelets every 7 days, up to 24 times a year. However, blood is a human product, right? You can't synthetically make blood. So even though you get blood donations, you can't stockpile blood donations indefinitely. The life, or the shelf life, so to speak, of whole blood is about 6 weeks. And the shelf life of platelets is only 7 days. So you kind of have to continually get that supply in balance on a regular basis.
So it's sort of what it sounds like you're describing is it comes in the door and then it goes right out the door again.
It absolutely. The Red Cross tries to keep a 5-day supply of all blood types available to meet hospital demands. Sometimes you don't meet that 5-day supply. There were times, Paul, during the pandemic when it was so hard to get people to donate because they were stuck at home that we'd be under 1-day supply of certain blood types. So you have to maintain that steady flow. You really, really have to. And we have to work at it. The pandemic has made the blood collection process trickier, particularly from the perspective of folks who used to give at blood drives at work. I don't think people realize this, but pre-pandemic, we would get 800,000 blood donations through businesses that would support and sponsor blood drives at work. 800,000 a year. Today, post-pandemic, that blood donations in those private businesses is only 500,000 because folks aren't in the office as often. So when you have a decrease of 40% in a core blood collection mechanism, you have to make that up somewhere else.
Boy, that's a real eye-opening thing for me to hear you say. I don't believe I had ever quite pictured it like that before.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I've been in the Red Cross for probably 3 years, 10 months, and I started right at the beginning of the pandemic, so I've seen this process, and I've seen urgent needs where we had emergency blood appeals, and it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Certain times a year, when the COVID epidemic was at its peak, you're always scrambling, which is why we use different techniques to really encourage people to give on a regular basis.
Okay, I'd like to cover briefly some of the ground rules for donations. The first question being, at what age is someone able to and or legally able to give blood? I'm thinking in terms of the
Well, you
difference
can
between
give as young as 17, and you can give at 16 with parental consent.
Okay,
Okay.
and you've mentioned
And the limits for, I think, individual weight is 110 pounds. So if you meet those requirements, you are eligible to give a blood donation.
what kind of examination or questions do potential donors generally hear you ask if they are contemplating becoming a donor on a regular basis? What are some of the questions that people might be curious about before they take the plunge?
First of all, the key one that people ask is, how does the process work, right? So the whole blood collection process on the day of an actual donation takes about an hour. And part of that is the screening process up front when you go to the blood collection area. In other words, who you are. They do a health assessment. They may take your blood pressure. They ask you a bunch of questions. Then you actually go and give blood. That actual donation may take 8 to 10 minutes, but it's a process, because once blood is taken, then you go into another area where you rest, you relax, you get some cookies, some treats, you take some fluids, rehydrate yourself, because you're giving a pint of your blood. You got to replace some fluids. You got to get some electrolytes back into you. The whole process is about an hour. Some questions that people ask is, if I take the flu or COVID vaccine, does that affect my ability to give blood? No, it does not. Typically, in the depths of the pandemic, if you are sick, if you're not feeling well, we ask that you reschedule the appointment in the event that you may have an illness and you don't want to get sicker by giving blood, or, impact anyone that's at the blood collection center. But those are the basic questions that we will ask of folks, or that people ask of us.
Okay. With people who are giving on a regular basis, have you heard of people making arrangements for their vacation schedules or off time or things like that so that they don't miss an opportunity to come in?
Yeah, we make it really easy to schedule a blood donation. For those who have smartphones, mobile phones, you can use the Blood Donor app to schedule an appointment around your schedule. You can look at what the closest blood donation center is near you, make an appointment. You can even do your pre-screening on the app, so when you get to the blood collection center, it's a quicker process to get in and get out. You can also call 1-800-RED-CROSS to schedule an appointment, as well as going online on your tablet or your laptop or your desktop, redcross.org. We have basically 3 different ways to look where you can schedule an appointment, to work around your schedule, to make the donation process as seamless and as easy and convenient for you. We try to do our best to accommodate. And for those who are regular donors, what often happens, Paul, if you're a regular donor, you will schedule your next blood collection appointment right then before you leave, okay? And you will get updates on your app as you get closer to your donation. So again, we try to encourage, we try to make it as seamless as possible. And during certain collection cycles, we may offer giveaways or incentives for folks to give blood. For instance, right now, through October 20th, you can get a $15 Amazon gift card if you give through the 20th. After the 20th through early November 9th, 21st to the 9th, you'll get a $10 e-gift card for a food merchant of your choice, so you can have lunch at the Red Cross. We also have your ability, you will be put into a lottery for a $5,000 gift card. These are things that we try to do to encourage people to come back and stay engaged with the Red Cross mission of blood collections.
So for a life-saving substance, you fellows at the Red Cross are right up there with other organizations in knowing how to use incentives to encourage people to do the right thing.
Yeah, we've done this for quite a while. We are responsible, the Red Cross is, for about 40% of all blood donations in the country. So we've learned a few things over the year. The irony, and you may laugh, Paul, one of our most successful incentives earlier this year, believe it or not, was a Snoopy t-shirt that we actually partnered with Peanut, the Peanuts brand, to actually offer Snoopy t-shirts for those who give blood donation. It was fabulously successful. People wanted them.
Well,
so, during Shark Week, we did a promotion with Shark Week for a tour of an aquarium in Long Island. So these are things that we do throughout the year to provide incentives to keep people engaged with our mission and excited about the blood donation mission.
Well, thank you for your readiness to make some time to speak with me on this occasion. I appreciate very much getting acquainted with you in a little way, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate your partnership, and have a terrific day.
You too, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That concludes my conversation with John Godin, a Red Cross spokesperson for the American Red Cross Blood Donor Services. In addition to what you've heard in the last few minutes, here's some further details directly from the American Red Cross website. When you come in to donate, you help provide life-saving care to patients in need, but you also receive the added benefit of a free mini health assessment provided by a trained Red Cross staff member. Prior to donating blood, all donors will receive a free health screening. At the time of your donation, your blood pressure, hemoglobin, and pulse will be checked. We record these vitals in your online donor profile where you can track and monitor your results. You can also access this information as well as past health information obtained through prior donations at any time. Your online profile is a great resource to track your health goals and share with your care providers. Your health is an important part of your donor journey and the key to continuing to help others in need. The Red Cross checks your blood pressure before every donation. When untreated, high blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, and other health complications. Also known as hypertension, the condition usually has no symptoms and is often called the silent killer. Your pulse will be checked before every Red Cross blood donation. Staff will measure the number of times your heart beats per minute and count any irregular heartbeats. Your pulse rate gives insight into your heart rhythm and how well your heart may be working. A health rate that is too fast, too slow, or irregular can indicate an underlying condition. The Red Cross also checks your hemoglobin before every donation to ensure that you're healthy enough to donate. Hemoglobin is a protein that contains iron and carries oxygen to the tissues in your blood. Iron is essential to help your body replace red blood cells lost through blood donation. And as Mr. Gordon mentioned earlier, fluids are given to those who are donors because, after all, when you take a pint of blood out of a person, naturally they're going to be down a pint, as it were. For further information on what you heard on today's broadcast, call us at 860-346-1049. That's 860-346-1049. Our email goes to the following: office@wihsradio.org, office@wihsradio.org. If you'd like further details about what the broadcast had, you can call by or email us to those two contact points, and we will be glad to get back to you promptly with the information that you have requested. Once again, John Godin was my guest from the American Red Cross today. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of this station. I'm Paul Krutzmer for the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 WIHS.